Okay, hopefully everything's working now. Is everything working? Thanks to my archaic setup, I do have to look at my phone to check the stream just to see how it's playing out. Alright, there we go. Okay. Hello, sister. Yeah, if I'm too loud, too soft, if the music's too loud or anything, just let me know. You're not gonna believe this, but apparently my technical difficulties was actually having to look over the I kept looking over the stupid Go Live button. It's been a hot minute since I've last done a live stream. You can tell. Last one I did was last year's Christmas. That is embarrassing. I need to do streams more often just so I remember how to do them. But yeah, as you can see here, what we're going to be working on is the Inktober piece that I did for Ripe, which was the prompt. And of course that is the strawberry and grape, or well, grapes for Fruit of the Doom, which whenever I get done with these, I'm going to put these on my TeePublic store. So yeah, I am just still so baffled that I looked right over that frickin' thing. And here I was thinking that it's just like, oh, you go to OBS, you hit go live, and then it's like I thought YouTube would automatically do it. But no, it's... yeah. Plus the reason I thought like something was up was just because there was something that kept popping up like, oh, this isn't optimal resolution, and I'm like, okay, I'll change it. Well, this isn't optimal. I'm like, then what is? You can't just throw that at me, and you can't just say, well, it's not optimal, and then it's, you know, what is optimal? But things seem to be working, so I guess we don't need to be worried about that. Anyway, on to the coloring. I'm all set up. I got the lines run through. I ran the lines through Illustrator. Did a live trace. Did a live trace to get those all cleaned up and everything. So yeah. And if you saw this earlier, this little bit is this is my little color palette key. These are actually my perler bead color palettes. Like whenever I do any kind of perler bead art, well, pixel art rather, whenever I do any kind of pixel art, I always go to this because or I always go to this because it's they're the RBG values, RGB, sorry. They're the RGB values, and then I can basically make it so that whenever I get ready to make it into a perler bead figure or a perler bead sprite, it's like, oh, this is what color it is, and it's a close approximation to what it'll look like in real life. So yeah, and I found it to be really helpful when doing like color work. Yeah, don't mind him, he likes to watch. Like if I need a certain shade of blue, like midnight here, like these are perler bead color names, hence the names there. But it's like I can select this, and it's just like, oh, I've got a nice color there. But it's like if it's not exactly what I need, then I can just go over to my usual. I don't know if you can see that or not. My little color picker thing, and then I can actually change the values on it, and then I can get a proper I can get the proper color that I'm looking for. Anyway, enough dawdling. Let's color these bad boys. Let's see, I think we're going to go with the red. And for now, we'll see what that looks like, because then what I could do is, you know, once I've laid out the groundwork, I can go from there. Okay, here comes the boring part. Oh, and for those who are unawares, I'm no longer using my Intuos 3 Wacom tablet. I am actually now using my XP Pen Deco Pro. There's a really cool artist out there, Crooked Glasses with a K. Crooked Glasses, and she did a demonstration. Like, they actually sent her one of these to do a little demo for it and everything. And I was, because for whatever reason, but the reason it fascinated me a lot was because I accidentally spilled some juice on my Intuos 3, and, you know, that thing kind of crapped out on me. Started acting really funny, like it was just weird because it would skip over parts. Like, as I was just kind of dragging it along, it would skip over areas, and then I'm like, okay, I need to open it up and clean it out. And, of course, there's a lot of gunk in there, so I tried cleaning it up, and then before I closed it up, it was actually working just fine. Like, I would just run the cursor over it, and I would run the brush over the canvas. It's like, oh, it's working now. Closed it back up, then it started misbehaving. Opened it back up, works fine. Closed it back up, just started misbehaving. So, yeah, I was, needless to say, I was in the market for a new tablet, and I did have my little travel tablet, which is, I forget the model of it, I never bothered with it. It's just a small Wacom tablet. It's good for being on the road and everything like that, but it was way too small. Like, even the pen was just not really balanced very well. The pressure sensitivity was just so wonky with it. I mean, it was fine, just, you know, not for my fat fingers. And then, let's see, I don't know what I'm doing here. I need a smaller brush. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have a dual screen setup, so I keep having to turn to my phone. State-of-the-art technology. Anyway, what was I rambling about? See, I do that every now and then. I ramble, and then I trail off on something. Oh, the tablets. But anyway, I was in the market for a new tablet, and I saw this video demonstration by Crooked Glasses, and I was just like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Then I'm like, okay, this looks like really high-tech. Like, it's got a nice little smart dial on it. It's got an actual physical dial on the side. So I started messing with it. Or I'm going to be messing with that a lot, I should say. There I go again, trailing off. But no, I saw her messing with it, and it's like, you know, you can use it for all kinds of options and everything. It's like any tablet, you can just change the pre-settings on it and everything, or you can change the settings on it and everything. So sometimes I'm trying to concentrate on my art. I'm not good at talking and drawing at the same time. But anyway, I looked up I'm like, okay, let's just see how much this thing is. I bet it's going to be like, you know, no less than $500. I only got it for $130. And the interface is, like, it's definitely not the same interface, but it is similar enough to what I was using with my Wacom tablets that, you know, it's I might as well just say it's virtually identical. So it's like if you've ever used a Wacom tablet before, really, you're already there. You've already won half the battle. Let's see, let me just redo that. But I saw that for $130. I'm like, I am going to get that. I want to say it might have been like some kind of special deal, like some little promo code, because it's like, oh, you went through her to get it and everything. It's like you can just go to her YouTube channel and she has them there. So for any young aspiring artists that want to get into any kind of digital work and they want to use a tablet, I highly recommend this, because I mean it does exactly what I need it to do. It's decent size. It's got a lot of neat gadgets that come with it. And the pressure sensitivity is like, okay, now it's exactly where I need it to be. Like, it's not just so, like, the pen is not so scrunched up and tiny and everything. I do miss I will say, and it's just a nitpick because I didn't even really do this all that much with the Intuos 3, is that you could flip it over. The Intuos 3 pen, you can actually flip it over, and then it's got the little eraser part on it. Like you flip it over and it automatically goes to eraser. But again, I didn't really use it all that much because it's like, well, because I'm just usually so quick with the draw, I can, so to speak, that I could just get over there and click the little option. Plus, it's like the Intuos 3 also came with it came with a mouse. I think it was called the Puck. And this thing, instead of coming with a mouse, the smart dial actually kind of acts like the mouse. It's like it's kind of like a laptop touchpad, is what it was. Like whenever I started using it, I'm like, oh, that's what it does. Let's see. Deselect. There we go. And just do a fill whole selection, and there we go. Plus, I've also gotten used to the buttons that are actually on the tablet. I've been using the buttons that are actually on the tablet, like Control, Shift, copy, paste, and everything. It's just like, that way it's like I'm not having to reach across it to get to the keyboard. It's like, I mean, I still have to, but just like for the functions that I'm using a lot, I have it right here on the thing. I feel older every day. It's been kind of slow today as far as birthdays go. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're going to go with that red, because I kind of like that red. I want to say, let's go with cheddar for now. Because I want to... because now I'm going to color the seeds, as well as his eyes. Yeah. So what I could do now is lock the pixels, or what is that called? Lock alpha channel. Lock the apple channel. There. Now I can't see. It does nothing. It does nothing. Yeah, sometimes it's like, I don't want to... Well, I guess I could. I'll just do that. I'll do that. There, see, now I got outside the line, but no biggie, because then I can do this. Yeah, it was fun, kind of funny, and I just looked down. The Thanksgiving, it was all right. Mom had to work. I was just stuck here with Jade, my little kitty cat. I actually like how that looks. Let's make the brush a little bigger. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of funny that you bring up Thanksgiving because all I had was just like I had a little bit of turkey, had a turkey drumstick, but not from the fair. Had some turkey, and then I cooked some mashed potatoes, and I was just like, as anyone should know, I love weird stuff. Like, you know, anything like, and by weird, I mean stuff like, you know, like the Dark Crystal, you know, a lot of Jim Henson stuff. Anything monster related, because, you know, monsters tend to be weird in their own right. But I was just like, oh, I'm gonna, like, I just want to watch some clips of The Fly, the David Cronenberg version, and I thought, nah, I better not, because I'm about to go eat. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna sit here, and I'm gonna watch some Jacksepticeye. I was gonna watch some Jacksepticeye because he's got a new Let's Play that he's started. I think I actually started watching the last video a while ago, and it's that new game, Little Misfortune, and I started. I'm like, okay, this can't be, like, this isn't going to be a total gross out like The Fly. Oh, Ray, you naive little bastard. So I started watching that, and I'm just like, good God. It's a fun game, but it's just like, way to just throw me off like that. Oh, and hello, Bianca. Bianca Wallet, yeah. And how is Jade? She's being a little snot as usual. She gets really upset whenever, like, she really likes it whenever I lay down on the bed, and I'm just, like, if I'm laying on my back or my side, preferably on my back, then she'll hop up and want to snuggle with me. But if I am just kind of laying up there, just lounging around, like, I don't know, doodling on my phone, like, I don't know, playing the Godzilla Defense Force mobile game, then she gets really upset, and she's just like, I want to snuggle. And I'm just like, oh, Jade. Oh, kitty. Kitty, witty, 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 witty. But sometimes if I'm laying on my side, and specifically my right side, if I'm laying on my right side, she'll just be like, well, I'll come up here, but you gotta lay down flat, because I want to lay down on your side. And it's like, and then whenever I do, she'll come up and just lay down right on me. She is a funny little cat. Yeah, from what I could I was going to say, I don't know if you're familiar with it, because they actually made, they're the same people who made Fran Bow, who made, what was the name of the game? Little Misfortune. I think it was the same people who made Fran Bow. It's the same developer, Kill Monday or whatever it was. Supposedly set in the same universe, maybe a slightly less Tim Burton-y art style. I guess if you could call it that. But no, it looks like a fun game. It's just, there are just some points where it's just like, man, that is some heavy subject matter. That's all I'm going to say on it. I actually just played some Commander Keen recently. I've played through... yeah, Jade is in charge. Yeah, and Franbo is really good. Like, it's one of those kind of games where it's just like, you know what, it's up to you if you want to decide what's real and what's not. But it's pretty amazing. I think the only way they could really improve it, and I'm sure, even the developers are like, yeah, we want to do this, is if it had voice acting. But even then, it's just like, you know, it's really fun on its own. But I just played some Commander Keen the other day, and some today as well. Excuse me. Having a soda burp there. Played through some Commander Keen recently, and I was playing Commander Keen 6 specifically, which is my personal favorite out of the entire series, because I just love the art style, I love the music in it. And, I mean, that goes the same with the other games. I've heard that there is that new mobile game for Commander Keen, which it is I haven't played it, but just from watching the trailer that they had for it, it's like, it's a really, really cool idea, and it's funny as all hell, because basically it's basically Billy Blaze's kids, and they're both named Billy. It's a boy and a girl, and they're both named Billy, and I'm like, that is. Like, I know it's kind of to say, like, oh, the player, like, they can choose a character, or like, they can choose an avatar that suits them, but it's like, at the same time, that is the kind of humor that Commander Keen would have. That is actually really funny to me. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Sometimes I switch back and forth to, like, the lasso tool, just because I'm just like, oh, here. I could just use the fill tool, or the fill bucket, and just be done with it. But yeah, there was some kind of mobile game for Commander Keen. It's just like, it's one of those little, it's not, from what I can tell, it's just one of those, you know, run-of-the-mill tappy tap games where you just, like, you know, like you tap it X amount of times, and then it's like, you level up, and then it's, you know, if it was a side scroller game, then it's like, yeah, I would love to play it. But especially because it's like, you know, in this modern age, it would be 2-player, which, you know, would make sense. But the funny thing is, it's like, I mean, aside from, like, you know, the kids both being named Billy, it's like, I want to know the story behind, like, you know, who's Billy's new wife and everything. It's like, that's, that just, like, you know, who dat? But, yeah. Like, it's just, I guess, just to summarize it, it's just an interesting setup. Just, you know, you could have picked a better game style. Better genre, I guess. But, I've got the... but, like, I've got all the originals, as well as the mods that they made over the past, I guess, over the past decade. which was the unofficial Universe's Toast trilogy, which was really good. Like, it was never officially made, but then some dedicated fans went ahead and made them, and they're fun to play, because it's like, hey, new levels, new music, new creatures. You know, now it's a clever segue. This actually reminds me of... I was actually kind of thinking about that when I was drawing these guys, the strawberry and grapes here. Keen Dreams, the unofficial... well, it's more like Keen 3.5, but some people call it Keen 7, which, you know, is kind of false. Where basically Keen... or Billy dreams that he goes to this weird land where everything's inhabited by sentient fruits and vegetables. Because it's a play off of just like, oh, I hate eating fruits and vegetables and everything. Like that's the one thing that Commander Keen absolutely despises is mashed potatoes. And of course, you know, the villain is a giant potato. Giant taters. Yeah, that was a fun game. Like, it's not the galactic, you know, adventure that the other games were, but hey, it's still fun. Hey, Greg. Glad to see you're joining us. Yeah, I know I've got that. I know I've got those drawings that I need to work on. I just haven't had a chance to get to them yet. But I'm definitely wanting to get to them. And a lot of it kind of has to do with like how my setup is. Like, I've been asking around a few people that I know to like they do stuff over where was I going with that? They do like Instagram. That's I can't word and draw at the same time. But they were doing some live streams, and they're doing physical media. Like, they're not doing the actual, or they're not doing computer stuff like I'm doing right now. And I was just like, oh, like, what's your setup? Like, what kind of tripod you're using, that kind of stuff. And I mean, I know I've kind of made my own little archaic setup, but that tripod is just kind of a pain in the patootie. That, and I guess I'm still kind of traumatized after that incident of using my, like, I used my phone, like I've always done with the traditional media that I would make videos of, or used to make videos of, I guess, at this point. Like, I was coloring my Transmetal Megatron. Like, I had drawn it out completely. I'm like, okay, I might as well just record myself, you know, coloring it. And then it's like right before I could even get the videos copied over to the computer to edit them, I accidentally deleted them, and I was really upset. So yeah, I was kind of hoping to like get into a more tech savvy setup. So I don't know. I may just have to suck it up and just work with what I have. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I preach as an artist. It's like, you know, it's all about what you have. Like, you know, learn how to use what you have. I almost like to think of these seeds as like they're looking like sweat droplets almost. Especially like with the eye looming above. Yeah, I definitely won't. Yeah, I definitely won't forget you. I'm just. I definitely won't forget you. I mean, I've still got you jotted down. Just, you know, take your time whenever you're ready. Just let me know, and I've got you. Let's see, how's he looking so far? Blah. Nervous berry. Yeah. I had actually, like, whenever I first did my Fruit of the Doom series, like, the whole thing started whenever I was watching the Game Grumps back whenever they were doing Doodle Dudes. And it really kicked off whenever I did the Furby that I did. Because like I remember, because I've told this story a few times to people who have seen it. Especially the shirt that I actually bought myself. Like, you can get the shirt on TeePublic, but I ended up buying one myself. If I wouldn't buy it myself, I wouldn't sell it. And speaking of selling, there is a sale on TeePublic going on, so just check that description and you can find the link there. Anywho, the whole thing started whenever I did that Furby. It was during one of the Doodle Dudes episodes. I think it was the Iron Giant episode that they did, and there was a point where Ross was telling a story about how he killed his sister's Furby by throwing an Australian dollar at it or something like that, and it's just like, and I was kind of just, because as what they do is like they just take a subject matter and then they just draw it really, really weird and stuff like that, really funny. So I thought, like, okay, like, oh, he said Furby, so I've got my sketchbook handy, because that's one of the things I liked doing, was just like, whenever they would make new episodes, I would just be like, oh, I'm just going to get my sketchbook out and draw with them. And they, and Ross started talking about the Furby, and then that's whenever I was just like, I'm just going to draw a weird Furby, and then that's whenever I'm like, this needs to be a shirt. And then what led to the fruit was, I think there was another episode where they were talking about weird, like they were doing warm-up sketches of like fruits and stuff like that, and I'm like, well, I need to just draw apples and or like draw an apple, a banana, and all kinds of stuff like that. Oh yeah, I saw that Kaiju Sona that Kaiju he made did. I saw that earlier, and I thought, that's a really cool looking kaiju. I'd love to get in on that at some point. Oh, but yeah, like with the fruit here, it's, I think I've got all the seeds now. Yep, that should be all of them. Now to do this part. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to show you my tricks. So you go to the line, lock alpha channel. I was thinking of just adding a little bit here, but I think I'm just going to color the lines here. I'm messing with my color picker now in case no one can see it. Oh wait, what am I doing that for? Yeah, I haven't fully transitioned into doing more practical stuff like this. Like now I've got the key back up here. What's a good color? So we'll go with this one. Toothpaste. I love perler bead color names. Whoop. What are we doing here? Whoop. Wrong layer. Wrong layer. There we go. There, because I locked the layers, I can just color that now. And it's like, yay. Bleh. Oh, but yeah, like I started doing sometimes this neutral background just kind of helps me see a little better, because sometimes that white, the contrast kind of messes with me. So let's actually go back to this, and this will do the blush for the inside part of the mouth. There. I started doing the Fruit of the Doom, and then I was just like, I want to do more of them, because it's like I did the first 6, a watermelon, a pear, which is my personal favorite, a pear, an apple, cherry, God, I hate when my mind does that. Watermelon, pear, cherry, banana, apple, and pineapple, I think it was. But I did those, and I was just like, I want to do more of them, and then I had the idea of doing a strawberry. Like, I wanted to do the grapes, but I was just like, oh, I couldn't think of anything for grapes. Like, I actually told someone at a SpaCon, I believe it was, and they suggested, like, oh, like, make them with tongues or something, or I guess make them like this. I'm like, that's just weird. Let's see. Usually I'm a little persnickety about how I do the details here. Yeah, good enough. Blah. What you doing over there, Jade? Jade has come to join us. She's poking at my recycling bin. See, I think the teeth we're just gonna do plain old white. Yeah, but whenever I first came up with the strawberry, it was originally just going to be the strawberry with the mouth, and then I just had the idea of like, oh, what if I gave it eyes? Yeah, pineapple pen. Let's see. Yeah, if I ever just like, there's two reasons why I would ever just stop talking. Like, if I'm just talking right now, if I ever do that, it's either because it's like I'm like getting really into the artwork and I'm forgetting that my lips are moving, or forgetting what, or I'm using too much bandwidth, or Jade is doing something. I think she's currently harassing a food bag over here. She's just jumping around, just poking at it. She's not even trying to tear it open. She's just poking at it. Because I guess she likes the ruffle of it. So I need a green. Leaves. Oh, but for the strawberry, I was originally going to do I originally just wanted to do the mouth thing. And then I thought, okay, make it funnier by adding the eyes or something. And then I was going to do one where it was just like each of the... let's see, we're going to go with kiwi lime, I think. Yeah, we'll go with that one. I was originally... then I was like, what if all the seeds are just like big old thorns or spikes or something? But then I was just like, well, I want it to actually look like a strawberry. Because I think the sketch that I did, it kind of looked a little too much like a dragon fruit. Which, I mean, hey, there's another idea. Just, I actually thought dragon fruits were fake, and then I actually saw one. I'm like, oh, that's why they're called dragon fruit. It's easy to see how it got that name. And then the grapes, I was just like, what do I do with them? And I just thought, I don't know, just make them grumpy grapes. The grapes of one of the 7 deadly sins. But of course, I had a couple of people just say, "Oh, they look like the member berries from South Park," and I'm like, I actually looked up that clip, and it's actually pretty funny. But I was just like, I had never seen that until people had actually brought it up. Now Jade is messing with my door. She is apparently found a dust ball or something under the door and is now trying to reach it, even though she could easily walk around. Yeah, I remember. He looks like an absolute dork. And I think the stem will make a brown color. We don't want it to look too much like the leaves. Maybe a darker green. You know, Jade is one of those cats who will do something. Like I'm watching her right now. Oh, there's what she's found. She found one of her little poof balls. But she'll do something really stupid, like she'll run and just kind of slam into something, and she'll just kind of walk around and then just start licking herself, like, you know, to kind of brush herself off, like, I meant to do that. Right. Yeah, she's a weird one. Still, though, she is extremely weird, because it's like, to this day, she is still the only cat that I've ever met that hates being picked up. She begs for attention a lot, and she begs for attention a lot. You try to give it to her, and she's just like, "What are you doing? Get away!" It's like you can try to give her attention all day, and she'll just be like, "No, go away." And then it's like, "I'm ready for bed," and she's just like, "Love me." Jade, you're doing exactly what that one video is doing. Like there's a video of a cat out there where it's like it walks right past the little toy or something like that, and then it goes on the other side of the door, and then it starts trying to reach through it under the door. Jade does that a lot. I'll tell you what Jade is. Jade is the living epitome of that surprised Pikachu meme. Like, she'd be like, "Someone give me attention." Gives attention. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? I think he's fully colored now. But yeah, sometimes I'll be in the bathroom and she'll just be like, "Ray, why are you unraveling the mysteries of the universe in there without me? Let me in, let me in, let me in." And then I open the door and she's just like, "What, all you're doing is, you know, yeah." Love you, Jade. Come here, Jade. And she's just kind of looking at me like, "What?" I'm calling her a weirdo, and she's giving me that look like, "I know you are, but what am I?" She is a nutterball. And I guess before I do any shading, I guess I'll move on to the grapes here. The grapes of something. There's a joke in here somewhere, I just can't think of it. You know, now that I think about it, I think one of Perler's new colors is actually grapes. Or is actually grape, and here it's like I've got one that's labeled plum. But I think we're just going to go with the purple. They're all grumpy wumpuses. Except for that guy. This guy has just had it. Yeah, I have so much fun drawing stuff like this. Like whenever I do... I'm going to unlock the pixels. Like whenever I draw the brain matter sketches that I do, or even like the 2 paintings that I've done as of this video, I just love doing those just because it's one of those ways where it's like I could just draw something without having to really think about it. I guess that's kind of the irony of drawing a brain, is like I don't really have to think about it. Like if someone's like, "It doesn't make sense," I'm like, well, of course it doesn't. I wasn't trying to make any. I was trying to make the arts, not sense. Doobie-doobie-doo. Oh yeah, feel free to do that. If there's one that you if there's one that you want me to design, just, you know, I don't know, at some point I would, or I'll probably have those open for commissions whenever I get commissions opened up proper. But yeah, like I've seen a lot of perler bead artists do that. Like there's a group on Facebook, and they and some people will be like, "Oh yeah, I got this from a cross stitch pattern." And it's like, hey, good for you. Yeah, when it comes to doing the like perler bead designs, I feel like, okay, video game sprites, fair game, so to speak. Fair game, but it's like if it's someone else's design, like I've seen some out there where it's like, I mean, I kind of want to do just this one. Excuse me. I kind of want to do just this one where it's a Bulbasaur, but but the little bulb on its back is a it's a Halloween pump. It's a jack-o'-lantern. It's like a little Halloween themed piece. It looks really cool, especially if someone makes it like with glow-in-the-dark beads. I wanted to make one of those, but I've just been like, I would rather just make my own. Like, I want to actually draw it out and design it myself. But I'm one of those people where it's just like, if it's someone else's design, then I would avoid it. But if it's a video game sprite, then I'm just like, well, it's fair game. I mean, it's out there. And then I always just try to make my own designs. Like Becky would know, or you would know, Becky. You've got that that 3D creeper that I made from Minecraft. Becky is my sister, for those of you who are watching who are unaware. But yeah, she bought one of the 3D Minecraft creepers that I think it was at St. Louis that I had that. I mean, she lives in that area, a few miles out. But it's like the pattern. It's like I looked it up and I'm like, okay, it was a basic 2D pattern, but I was just like, I could easily turn it into a 3D pattern, and that's what I did. And that's kind of how I base my prices on perler bead stuff too. It's just like, oh, if it's a video game sprite, or if it's something that that I didn't really design, then it's like, yeah, I'll just throw like $5 on it. But then if it's like my 3D Mothras that I've made, then it's like, yeah, those are original patterns. I designed those from the ground up. Those are going to be a little more. And speaking of, those are on my I've got the Mothra Leo and Mothra Rainbow Mothra Leo. Specifically the Rainbow Mothra from Rebirth of Mothra 2, as opposed to the one from Rebirth of Mothra 3. But I've got those up on my Star Envy now. The Mothra Leo, the green one, I actually entered that in G-Fest's art contest this year and won first place with it. So if you buy that one, you'd literally be buying an award winner. Of course, I'm keeping the ribbon, though. You can't have that. Oh yeah, I made the... Yeah, that was the... Becky just mentioned that she has some dice as well. I made some of those for her birthday last year, or the year before last... maybe last year or the year before last. I forget when I made those. But that was actually the inspiration for a lot of my 3D stuff. Was just like, oh hey, you can actually do 3D stuff with perler beads. Fellow artist and perler beader, perler bead artist specifically, is WC Whimsies, I believe it is. She gave me a dice block, and I'm just like, whoa. And then I think she started making little butterflies. Like she made like a little monarch, and that was not in the same blocky 3D style, but it was. So you just deselect the. Oh, here, just do this. No, wait, no, bad idea. Bad idea. Forgot about that. I was going to use like the color picker or the color selects to do that, but it's like, nope, it gets the inside there too. There we go. But she made a little monarch butterfly. Whoop, missed a spot. She made a little monarch butterfly, and I thought that was really cool because it's, you know, like it's still flat, but it's like, you know, the, oh, it was last year, but the wings were folded up kind of, and I thought that was kind of cool because I could easily see someone making a Mothra like that, myself particularly, not to brag. But then I thought I need to do something like that dice block. Just go big. Go all get out. And I did that and had an absolute blast making those. It's like, I think it took longer to draw them than it actually did to actually put them together. Because it's like you just got to make sure how they all fit together and everything. Let's see, now let's do the stem. The stem is going to be the same color. So we'll just forward our, and we'll do this. Oh, that's what it went. You know, I just now looked up at these on my shelf here that I've got next to my desk. And it's like, I've also got these 3D Godzilla heads, particularly the prototypes that I made whenever I first started doing that. I'm like, yeah, I need to make some more of those. I meant to make some for G-Fest this year, but one, ran out of time, and two, there was just some kind of new rule implemented, and I could only have so much Toho-related content. Because I guess the higher-ups got a little peeved at someone or something. And, yeah, whoop. Now we'll just block that. There we go. Yeah, I'm not going to be lazy. I'm actually going to color in the eyes. I joke, but maybe I should give them yellow eyes, make them look all jaundiced and angry. I'd actually do that. Let me see here. But yeah, I definitely need to do more of those Godzilla heads, just because, you know, if I could do the Mothras, as many of them as I did, I can do the Godzilla heads. Because, like, part of the giveaways that I did last Christmas, one of them was glow in the dark, one of them was just the basic gray. The standard version, I believe I called it. You know what? Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the yellow. That actually pops really well with the purple. Well, mostly because yellow is the opposite of purple. But but here it just actually looks really nice. It's just a nice little contrast. But yeah, like I've got the and then I made one kind of mostly for myself, but I wanted to actually kind of make it a convention exclusive or something, was a clear blue one. Or is the atomic blue or something. I forget what I called it. But I had it, but I have, I guess you could call it well, I mean, I guess it is a prototype since it's the only one I've made so far, but I've got a blue Godzilla head as well. Yeah, anytime you hear the keys clacking, that's me having to use the keyboard. If you can hear it. You know what, just because it's on my mind, I think because of this guy, I think I'm going to do something a little different with his eyes. Oop, too close. A little too close. Oop. Give him those red, rage-filled eyes. I have special eyes. I do have special eyes, actually, because it's like I don't know if it's me or what, but I think I've rambled about this before, but it's just like I still cannot get over this one tractor that I saw. This one tractor that I saw with a good friend of mine whenever we took a trip to Iowa. We could not tell even she was just like, is this thing blue or purple? Because it's like on the sunlit side it looked blue, but on the shaded side it looked purple. It was just the weirdest looking color that any of us had ever seen. And we just, for the life of us, could not figure out. Oh, speaking of figuring out, I'm trying to pick a color for the teeth, and I'm like, oh, I just use basic white. I'm not using any special color or anything. But anyway, we could not figure out for the life of us what that color was on that tractor. And, God, I love it. It kind of looks like Gengar. I just realized that. It's like, because I'm using the purple and the red, I'm like, why does he look familiar? And it's like, oh, he looks like Gengar from Pokemon. But oh god, that can't unsee. But yeah, it's like I've always had trouble with certain colors like that. Like, I can obviously tell this is purple and this is yellow, and obviously this is red, this is white, of course. But it's like there are times it's like it's a blue that has just like you take a blue and there's just enough red in it to where it's qualified as purple, and it's just like or one of those where it's like, I guess it's like indigo. I always thought indigo was like a dark blue of some kind, but it's really more of like an in-between blue and purple. Blue and violet, I guess. It's, like you put it next to blue, it looks purple. You put it next to purple, it looks blue. Hate it. We hate it. We hate it, precious. Yeah, sorry there. I go crazy sometimes. But yeah, I just absolutely hate those kind of colors where it's just like there's like the contrast is so minimal that, you know, that I can barely tell them apart. That's actually one of the things I need to put her up on my store envy as well. Is one of the perler bead Mothras I made. I kind of made a second version of the original pattern that I made. Like, I made a regular Mothra, then a Batra, and then the Mothra 3 version of Rainbow Mothra. And then I was just like, okay, I'm going to make a second one, especially because I had actually sold the first one. So I thought, okay, I'll need to make another one. My lighting at the time was not really the best, and I actually mistook peach for my light gray, because it's like, in terms of contrast, there's just so little difference. I mean, but under certain lighting, it's like, yeah, I could tell one is the light red, one is light gray, or really light red. But I was just absolutely baffled by that, just because it's like, under this supposed natural lighting lamp that I've got, it's like, no, it's not natural lighting, because it messes with me. But since then, I've got a new ceiling fan, ergo new lighting. And now I'm able to tell plain as day what's what. Yeah, and that's another thing, too. Sometimes it depends on how the light hits it. And I was actually just thinking about this the other day. It's like, I recalled this one moment where I really upset my parents at one point. because there was some movie where I forget the name of it, but it was the main character drove around like a 64 or 65 Mustang, and it's this really, really pretty green. But I had the Mandela effect. I think that's what that is, the Mandela effect, and I thought it was orange for a while. I'm just like, oh yeah, he drives around this orange car, and then everyone kept giving me weird looks. I'm like, what? It's an orange car, isn't it? Then we watched it again, and then everyone was just like, Ray, you need to get your eyes checked. I'm like, no, now that I'm watching it again, I see that it's green. Because, I mean, like, green and orange, it's like I have zero trouble with. But it's just like, I really freaked out my parents there for a while that they thought that I was, you know, colorblind as a bat. But no, it's like I just had one of those moments where it's just like, oh, for some reason I remembered it being this color when, you know, I was wrong. I wonder, it's like, you know, TeePublic actually allows, like, because of their printing process, you can do gradients and stuff like that. Like, you don't have to do just perfectly flat colors and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you have to, I mean, I think there is a way to do gradients with screen printing. It's just very, very tricky process, from what I learned in the class that I took so many years ago. But like with TeePublic, like you can get fairly complex with your designs and everything that you upload, because it's essentially like I think the way they described it, it's basically just a printer. It's like an inkjet printer. Yeah, just kid yourself, Becky. I'm crazy, but I'm not stupid. But the TeePublic's printing process is pretty cool, because it's more like it kind of prints into the fabric and everything. So again, you don't have to worry about, like, you know, using limited amount of colors. You just, well, I mean, I would just, you know, for the sake of, like, you know, there's only, because it's like, I think they do like multiple layers or something like that. It is layered, but at the same time, it's like you can still get complex with it. Like, you can have like little glow effects here and there. The reason I bring that up is because I may do that with the eyes here, just to make it look really weird. I mean, hey, considering all what Fruit of the Doom is supposed to be, the weirder the better. Oh, I just thought of something really funny for the little happy grape. The little happy guy down here. I'm going to do it just so I don't forget it. Because I actually thought about this, of doing like, okay, which one should I do? Like green or... Because, like, I've always eaten green grapes. But here I might as well actually do something with that. So I'm going to take the kiwi lime. And I'm actually going to just, like, because, again, weirder the better. You know, let's just make him stand out a little more. Yeah, he's like one of those little green grapes. Nah. Kind of have, yeah, I don't know. Kind of have like I'd rather have it be like a Where's Waldo situation, where it's just like you're looking at each one, and then it's just like, oh, there's a happy one, or like, oh, here's one with a tiny face. So yeah, I think I may just leave him as is, now that I've seen what it looks like. Yeah, he's trying to fit in. No, I think he's just superly optimistic. And a bunch of grumps, he's just the happy one. He's optimistic. The other ones are all cynical. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one too. This one's just a little fed up. I think he's just. I think he's reacting to this guy. He's just like, oh, why is he here? Get a little bit of white for his teeth that are showing. Yeah, that's kind of creepy. Grapes with, yeah, if the grapes with eyes wasn't creepy enough, they also have teeth. This Halloween, your fruit salad bites back. That's another thing that I keep forgetting that I've made is back in 2013 I made the it was either late 2012 or early 2013. It was a few years ago, quite a few years ago. There was a digital illustration class that I took, which was actually the first. Like that's actually one of the first times I used my old Wacom tablet, which earlier in the stream I rambled about that enough. Rest in peace. But the final exam for that class was to draw a B-movie poster, and being me, I went with the giant monster route, and I did Big Macodon versus Jumbo Frankosaurus. It was basically a giant cheeseburger versus a giant hot dog. I've come up with a third monster, and I've only done sketches here and there, but it's just like I would love to do like an actual full-fledged sketch, or even a painting rather. I'm almost tempted to do a remake with paints, or maybe not even a remake, just do the new design, like do the new artwork and call it a day. It's but the third monster that I came up with is like it was a pizza monster. I even kind of had the idea for each monster, like fast food items, like burgers, hot dogs, pizzas. It's like they are. I think I just got this one to go. Yep. Like the fast food items are like your typical Earth monster, like Godzilla, Rodan, Baragon, like those kind of monsters. King Kong. But then you've got alien monsters. You've got alien monsters such as like I guess the Godzilla equivalent would be like King Ghidorah, Gigan. Oh, there's one. Those kind of monsters. They would be healthy foods like salads and stuff like that. Fruits and vegetables. Not the. I guess these guys are the aliens that control the monsters or something. I don't know. It's all coming together. Just see what it looks like. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun to experiment. Well, I think the coloring is done on that. Oops. How did I miss that? Oop, wrong layer. Excuse me. And then, like, supernatural monsters would be candies, sweets and stuff, like cakes, and then this one's kind of obvious, but mechanical monsters would obviously be, like, kitchen appliances and stuff. But I've thought about just kind of doing, like, a little food verse. Food fight verse. Food fight monster verse, I don't know. Yeah, I think that does it for now. So I'm going to take a little break here, and I'll be back here in a few. So catch you in a few. Okay, I'm back. You children better be behaving, or I will turn this stream around. Somehow. Yeah, just shoot me a couple of messages over Facebook there, Greg. I can get back to you on that. I definitely need to discuss that with you, especially because it's been a while since since you joined up and all that. Yeah. Anyway, I think we'll be on to the shading now. Let's see, I just want to double check to make sure I got all the eyes. Okay, I got them all. Go to our shade layer. Jade has found her poof again, her little poof ball. Her favorite toy are still those springs. She really likes those little toy springs. Guess it's just because they're unruly and they give her a challenge. Okay. There we go. Having to get situated now that I'm yeah, if I could speak. Having to get situated now that I'm back. So it's actually yes. Yeah, I've always liked using the ink tool. I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, ink tool. It's like a calligraphy style thing, but I always kind of liked it because it does actually react to pressure sensitivity. And kind of has a little bit of spontaneity to it, which, you know, makes it feel a little bit more natural, especially because these were hand-drawn pieces. I guess it didn't hurt anything. That way I could just shade one part of this rather than having to be careful. Yeah, the funny thing about how this works is like the speed setting here. It's like the higher it is, thinner it is. It's just that was about the same pressure, same speed that I made that little stroke with. So that's what's kind of cool about this little setting. And I always knock it down to 10 just because anything higher, then it's just always going to be big. It's always going to be a thick stroke. Oh, I just now read Becky's comment. It's like, yeah, the going back with the whole food monsters and everything. It's just like, like obviously spaceships would be like flying saucers. It would literally be flying saucers and dinner plates and stuff. I have thought before of doing some kind of satirical movie of some kind. Like, I'm not really well versed in filmmaking, but it's like, you know, I think that would almost just add to kind of the B-movie charm. But I want to make a movie about like a giant lawnmower that basically just goes around leveling cities. Kind of got the inspiration from mowing the grass a few times and having to move a couple of animals out of the way, such as frogs and snakes. Frogs, snakes, and toads. But I'd love to be able to make something like that, just because there's so much, because I think there's a lot of humor that I could get away with, and, well, okay, let me reword that. There's a lot of humor that I could implement. I guess I should say it's like I wanted to call it the Weed Eater, but it's actually just like a big like the giant monster or invader, I guess you could say, is basically like a giant push mower. But why is it called the Weed Eater? Well, it's kind of an homage to like the idea would be kind of an homage to like classic B movies where they get the name wrong. Or something like that. It's just, and the whole time the audience, like, even at a bare minimum level, is just screaming at the characters, just like, that's not what it is. But, I guess what comes to mind is that I haven't really seen it, but I've heard, like, the movie Frogs. The frogs actually do not do any killing. It's not about killer frogs. They're described as, like, the generals, and it's really just, like, all the other swamp creatures that are doing all the killing. But it'd be something like that, where it's just like, it's called the Weed Eater. Mostly just because I think it's got more ring to it. Well, plus it's got more ring to it than the lawnmower. So let's do... highlights now. I'm also trying to remember how I did the shading and highlighting on the other ones, and I actually did, I actually know for a fact this was the setup that I did with, like, the layers and everything, because I actually did look it up. Like, I pulled up the old art files and everything just to make sure. But I mean, like, the style, like how I'm shading it and everything. But I think I've got it. Whatever, it's me doing it, so. And I don't know, that's kind of why I'm more of a traditional artist, I guess. Like, I mean, I guess you could call me mixed media, but more than anything, I like drawing stuff out by hand because I feel like there's a better connection to it, a more personal connection. Not to mention, I just have more control over it. But I don't know. I like to use the term connection, or there's just a stronger connection between the art, and there's not as big a disconnect between me and the art if there's actually some kind of physical piece to work with. I mean, I have done all digital pieces before, but I've always preferred drawing out by hand just because there's, again, there's just more control over it. That, and it's just, I don't know, for me it's like, there are some really great digital pieces out there, but it's like, I'm one of those people that's like, I've seen some people where they try to replicate like a certain medium, like, oh, like this digital painting is meant to look like, you know, an acrylic painting or a watercolor, and I'm just like, just get some watercolors or something. I'm one of those people who likes to embrace the medium. Let's see, I'm actually going to redo that. I actually like to embrace the medium that I'm working with, because it's like if you looked at this, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's done digitally. It's like, well, then good, because that's exactly how I want you to feel about it. But if it's done, like, you know, but like if you saw the line art, I would be like, yeah, I want you to feel like it's drawn out by hand, while or like my acrylic paintings, I want you to feel like it was hand painted. Let's see, there's some kind of overlapping here, so I'm going to expand that a little bit. But yeah, with but I don't know. It's just like, for me, when it comes to digital works, it's like I wouldn't want to replicate. I wouldn't want to replicate another medium. I just want to use the medium to my advantage. Like use the qualities of the medium that work, not its ability to reproduce another medium, because then it's just like, what's the point? Yeah, I'm gonna... Oop, too big. Gonna mess with the shading there just a little bit. There, it doesn't need to be that bulbous. There we go. You know, I mentioned weird earlier in the like towards the beginning of the stream. While I was at Comic Conway, I was watching some of Rocco's Modern World on the TV back at the hotel room that I was staying at, and man, I missed out on that in my younger years. That show is just weird, to say the least, and I love it. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Which I could say that about a lot of things, actually. But anyway, Rocko's Modern World. Or Rocko's Modern Life, sorry. Rocko's Modern Life. That is just... It would take me 30 minutes to get it. Yeah, I mean... Hey, there was a time it took me 30 minutes just to even get close to this. Just to even get close to drawing the line art. For the eye alone, I should say. But no, Rocko's Modern Life is just really funny. Like, I almost think like it kind of has to be weird just to offset some rather heavy subject matter. Like there was an episode on pollution, and I'm just like, like whoever is watching this nowadays would have to look at that and just say, yeah, like you can't say that there was. You can't overlook the political commentary. But man, was that episode funny. And Doug, it's like going from weird to kind of mundane. I think I actually prefer the Nickelodeon version of Doug more than I do the Disney run, just because it's like I feel like there's a bit more honesty to the Nickelodeon version, because and I would say like a lot of fans would agree. I mean, not that the Disney show was bad per se, it just wasn't as good. See, let's actually do that. Yeah, because that gets in more of that shape of the rounded shape of the eye. Yeah. Blah. Yeah, I think we're done with that. Let's select the red here. Whoops, wrong layer. Again. It's okay to make mistakes, kids. But like, I really like Doug just because it's a very honest show. It's like, it's not, like, I mean, it's not spectacular in terms of, I mean, it's like, it's not weird like Rocko's Modern Life is. It's not, you know, it's not all whimsical like Rugrats is, but, I mean, hey, I mean, it's like, it has its own, it kind of has its own shtick. That, and I think because of the honesty, it's like I kind of like shows like that where they kind of have a sense of the mundane to them, just because it's like, we've all been through mundane events in our life. We've all had to deal with stuff like that growing up, like overzealous principals making rules left and right. That one kid who just picks on you. It's like you almost can't even call Roger a bully just because it's like he's, I mean, yeah, he picks on Doug a lot, but it's like, it's like he's just kind of there's like, I guess it's kind of the point where it's just like, yeah, his jokes are kind of lame, and everything. So it's I mean, again, it's like it's a very honest show. It doesn't feel like it's trying to be complex or super complex about it. It's just, like, hey, sometimes you don't need to be. And then it's just like the mundane is just offset by the times whenever Doug just has his little daydreams, like whenever he's Quail Man and stuff like that. I've always, I mean, who hasn't dreamed, or who hasn't daydreamed like that before? Although I think my favorite character is the next door neighbor Bud, Bud Dink. just I don't know. It's just like I see a little bit of myself in him. Just like, always cracking jokes and always being that weird next door neighbor who just always means well. Plus, there was just something funny about how he always calls Doug by his full name. He always calls him Douglas. I'm just like that because I think my dad did that one time with one of my cousins. Like he actually, like his name was Tom, and he always called him Thomas. I'm just like, why? It's just kind of weird, but I don't know. There's something endearing about it. So let's get that stroke a little bigger. I think I may just switch to the brush for this. Well, nah, we'll just do this. I'm sure there is some kind of setting for the... Let's try that again. We'll just leave it like that. I think there might be something for the brush tool or the airbrush tool or any of those tools with like with the dynamic settings and everything, like that mess with the pressure sensitivity. I'm sure there's something where it's, because like the one thing that I always liked is, you know, like the ink tool here is just the solidity of it, like because like it's a flat stroke, like there's no shading to it, whereas like the pressure sensitivity excuse me again, the pressure sensitivity on the brush tool would just be like it kind of has a fade look to it. So I mean, I guess that's more realistic. I'm not sure how to word that, but I don't know, like that. I just I haven't really, I've looked at all the dynamics, and it's just like, this is the only one that actually produces the effect that I want of, you know, having, you know, the spontaneous strokes like this, but also having some solidity to it, some opaqueness to it. Jade is, I don't know if anyone can hear it, but Jade is now messing with one of her toys. It's I don't know what the proper name of it is. It's one of those little pyramid things, but it's got the little balls in it where it's like, you know, it just goes around in the circle, and like she just bats at them and they spin around. She loves that thing. It's like sometimes it just goes really quiet, and then you just hear, like you just hear the balls rattling around, and then it stops, and then you just hear her bat at him again. Someone did not program that cat with an in-between. she's either at 100 or she's asleep. One thing that I did hear from a friend of mine is that Siamese, like, she's not really Siamese, she's like a mixed breed. But obviously, like, Siamese is definitely part of her, it's definitely in her genes, because, you know, given her color scheme. But she meows a lot just for the sake of meowing a lot. And I've heard that, you know, Siamese cats like to do that. They're very talkative. And Jade does that every now and then. She'll just walk into a room and just be like, meow, without any kind of reason. She just likes to just say hi. And I wasn't kidding about the sarcastic tone of that meow, because like there are times whenever it's like I've kind of had to nudge her away from from one of the trash cans. Like she doesn't really, she does not like people food, which is surprising, but she is overly curious, and it's like if she sees us dump something in the trash can, she'll just be like, I want to see what it is. And it's like if someone tries to push her back, she has the most bratty meow ever. She'll be like, meow. It's like, Dad, I want to look at the trash. Like, she has that kind of meow, and it's just really funny at times. Just because I've never heard a cat with such a whine to their meow. She's a lovable floof. Yeah, it may sound like I'm complaining about her, but I'm not. I'm really not. That's just the way she is. Oh, jeez. I mentioned the Furby earlier. I've been really wanting to do a Furby 2.0. Like I've told a few people at conventions that I want to make. I mean, like I was gonna do like a palette swap. Because I mean, like I know, because Lord knows they made so many different color palettes of, or so many different color versions of the original Furbies back in '98, I think it was when they came out. And the one that I made was specifically the one that I put up on TeePublic is the one that we had as a kid, or as kids, my sister and I. And yeah, like there was like a black one. There was. The black one is the only one that I can remember. It's either that one or the like the gray and white one that I usually see pop up everywhere at like antique malls and stuff. But I wanted to do one based on the newer ones, but because it's like they have digital eyes, like they don't have like the creepy doll eyes. I was thinking of doing something like a cyberpunk techno mutant of some kind. Like it's all like rather than being all Cthulhu, it's more like I don't know what a good equivalent would be. Just something like where it's like all like a similar aesthetic of just like, oh, it's a creepy tentacled monster, but it's all technological and stuff. Or hell, I saw someone posted this on Facebook, but it was just like someone took a Furby and then like cut it in half, and then it's like its body opens up and it's like its teeth, and then it's just got really long legs. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna creep around your house. It's just like, yeah. It's just one of those weird looking things. And of course I loved it just because, hey, I came up with something similar. You know, revealing Furbies for what they really are. But I've wanted to... but I thought like maybe doing a mashup of Brain Matter meets the Furby. Yeah, I don't want to cover up the detail too much, because then it just looks like I just plaster the... Because if I put too much shading on there, then it's just like I might as well just do the fill bucket tool and then just use the eraser tool just to do the highlights. Does she wake me up at 3? Not well. Har. Sometimes I'm actually awake at 3 a.m. So no, she doesn't. No. I can't remember the last. There was one time she woke me up at like, I want to say like I don't know, around 6, but it was just because she was walking around on me. Like, she wasn't even trying to wake me up. She was just, like, she's not like one of those cats who likes to smother you in your sleep or whatever. like she's secretly trying to murder you. She was just walking on me, and good God, she is heavy. She's a hefty cat, and yeah, Jade has just kind of walked around on me like she's just up walking around and just walks right on top of me, and it's just like ugh. Which is just only amplified by the hilarity of that is just amplified by the fact that whenever we first got her, she didn't even weigh 3 pounds. She was just a tiny little snot, and now she's a full-on booger. But again, she's still a fun cat. Every now and then she still likes to play that game with me where it's like she'll hide, like she'll call for me, I'll get up and come to her, and then she'll just jump out and just pounce on my foot. Like she's not even trying to catch it, she's just like, tag, you're it, and then she runs off and does it again. I'm not exactly the most tech-savvy person, but it's like I remember there's quite a few friends of mine who have one that's or like an iPad or something, and they do like little speed paints with them. I'm trying to remember Procreate. That's the name of the program. Because I thought, like, you know, maybe there's a way I could do that with GIMP where it's, or an OBS where it's just like, oh, it only focuses on the canvas area, so it's like you'd be able to see it in full as I'm adding all the shading to it. But apparently you can only do that in Procreate. I don't know if I want to go to that kind of trouble. I mean, I know I could just easily just scan in my artwork and then just import the file over to the device, but in some way, but I just don't know if I want to go to that kind of trouble. It's just a whole nother toy I have to keep up with. And for those who are unawares, here's what he looks like without the line art. I don't know. Just a just a little randomness. And that's one thing about this wheel that I kind of like, is that I don't have to, you know, constantly go to the zoom tool. I could just turn it left to zoom out, turn it right to zoom in. And, yeah, things go much quicker that way. Yeah, for some areas like this, I just use the brush tool just because, like, you know, the pressure sensitivity of the ink tool, it's just like, oh, it's like I want to fill this in, but then it'll leave gaps. But then if I just use a brush tool, it's always going to be the same size. I'm actually going to fill in a little bit more down here. Maybe a little bit more over here. And then it's like the highlights, I can go over that and do like reveal a bit more of the form of these areas. Not that I'm getting fed up with this, but I guess just for the record, I think I'm going to go till 8:30, so that's another half hour. Another half hour, because it's like, I kind of wanted this just to be a little short stream, so it's like if I don't get to the grapes or if I don't finish them, then, hey, maybe I should just focus on the strawberry for now, because then that way it's like, hey, maybe I can make a little, I'll do a speed paint video or something, just so you guys aren't missing completely out on it. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to make this a quick stream because I wanted to get some food to eat before the day is over. But also just because some other things have come up, like I wanted to get in touch with Greg. I wanted to get in touch with you, Greg, about those Patreon rewards and stuff like that, and just yeah. And sometimes, depending on the color, I usually will hide the color layer, and then I could just do this, and it's just like, hey, look at that. Well, let's see, let's undo that. I actually want my selection back, because now I'm going to do the highlights. Just switch the color. So I was just looking at some speed tank. Yeah, that was terrifying with the other liner. Can't find TikTok. I actually have no idea about TikTok. I mean, like, I know what it is. It's basically zombie Vine. Like, yeah, I don't know where it is. I know Markiplier kind of brags about it. He's just like, I'm gonna be the best TikTok star ever. And he does stuff like that. Oh yeah, and I remember you texting me earlier. Yes, I've been watching the Unus Annus, and yeah, it's like I pretty much got the idea whenever they did whenever they tried looking up where the where the two ladies from Two Girls, One Cup was where are they now? And Mark finally saw it, and his freak out over that was like, God, that was funny. I mean, it's like, hey, I mean, I can't really blame him because I have yet to see it, and no, do not. Now that I know what it is, but no, I will hunt you down and hurt you if you send that to me. Zoom in on the eye. Whoa! I don't know, I was just being stupid. Oh, jeez. That TikTok. God, yeah. Oh, you know what? I actually don't know where he is. I posted him on DeviantArt. You can find him on my DeviantArt. Oh, God. God, that's it. I don't know. I'm kind of having an existential crisis now that... I'm having an existential crisis now that Becky pointed out, like, oh no, TikTok from Return to Oz. It's just like, oh God, it's like yeah, whenever the new social media thing or videos or whatever it is, I don't know what you would call it. Whenever that came about, I was just like, oh, it's like oh haha TikTok. You mean like the guy from Return to Oz? And now I just, you know, the shoe's on the other foot now. It's quite uncomfortable, let me tell you that much. So yeah, I might be done with getting close to done with the shading on this part of him, or yeah. Yeah, I say I'm getting close, and then I just keep adding detail. I might add a little bit more here. Yeah, Return to Oz, movies like The Dark Crystal, Return to Oz, Labyrinth, those movies are just really good. I mean, I guess in terms of which one I think had the best... I mean, I guess it's kind of a toss-up between Labyrinth and Return to Oz, because it's like The Dark Crystal, you know, I mean, like, and I mean this in the best way possible, it's like the story is really kind of bare bones. It's a very bare bones concept of, like, the boy on a quest. Which, then again, whenever you watch the behind-the-scenes to The Dark Crystal and you see Jim Henson, Frank Oz, and pretty much everyone involved, they're all basically saying, like, yeah, the intent was, like, you know, we don't want to necessarily tell a grand story through, you know, in terms of writing, we want to tell it through the puppetry. And like any puppet show, it's like, you know, the big takeaway has always been, you know, the puppetry, not so much the story. Although the new series, the Age of Resistance, the movie is a proof of concept saying, look what we can do with puppetry. The new Netflix series, the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, that's saying, look what we can do with the Dark Crystal. Yeah, I think I'm just about done doing the highlights on there. Now I'm going to add a little bit of some more highlights just to give him that nice shiny ripeness. Return to Oz has that same kind of like it. I don't think it was. Was it the Becky might be able to. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not watching it. Don't worry. But as for Return to Oz, I'm not sure. Did like someone help me out here? Was it Jim Henson that did the special effects on that? I mean, they have that. I know Brian Henson was involved because he was I think he was the voice of Jack Pumpkinhead in that movie. But no, like the stop motion animation in that movie was just. I want to say it was like that's the best way you could actually portray rock-like creatures because like that special jitter or that aesthetic of stop motion animation, like it was just perfect for portraying the gnomes, the gnome king. It's just like it was because like they actually did look like moving living rocks and everything. Let's see. And we can get rid of that selection now. And we need to do the tongue and the wet sucking lips. But yeah, with Return to Oz, that movie is just like the Wheelers in that movie. It's like I remember showing that to a friend of mine. Like I just kept bugging her. I'm bugging her and bugging her. I'm just like, you have got to see this movie because you are gonna love it. And she was just like, yeah, I bet I am. And no joke, we watched it. Like I finally got it. We've got to watch this. And it's like I went to go visit. We watched it, and she's just like, can we watch that again? And I'm like, yeah, that was a real like it's one of those. That is one of the few movies I've ever seen where I immediately wanted to watch it again. There are very few movies that do that for me, and I mean, of course, there are Godzilla movies that I'm always just like, man, that was so fun because I was like, I had that not too long, I think like last year or something. Like I watched Mothra, and it's just like, man, that the original Mothra just always blows my mind. Just for how gorgeous that movie is, and the funny thing is that was actually my first kaiju movie. I kind of consider it my first Godzilla movie by extension, just because it's like my first Godzilla toy was a Godzilla vs. Mothra set. So I'm just like, well, okay, these two meet up at some point. And then there being no mention of Mothra, or no mention of Godzilla in... I'm actually going to redo the highlights on those with smaller strokes. There's no mention of Godzilla whatsoever in the original 1961 Mothra. But at the same time, I just still felt like, he's got to be here. He's just not part of the story. And in a way, that was pretty much it. He was just not involved. There we go. Getting more of that look of the taste buds. And then we'll do a little gleam effect for good measure. And like the little scribbles here, it's just like I can easily delete those. Which we'll probably just do right now. Now that it's filled in, I can actually use this little tool, which is the select by color tool. So it's like I just select a blank area and it selects every blank area on the canvas, or at least on that layer, I should say. And here, and there's that layer clean, there's that layer clean, and there's that layer clean. Okay. And then just do the teeth. And we'll just do this. Ooh. I hate it when it does that. Sometimes, like even with this new tablet, I think it's just a GIMP problem. But sometimes it's like I'll click on, I'll either go to layers or the tool settings, and then it's just like it accidentally pulls it off. Yeah, again, like I rambled about this earlier, in case there's anyone new. Yeah, I was just looking at the comments, like, yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was, I think Return to Oz was Jim Henson's puppet work. I mean, again, Brian Henson, his son, was involved, but I don't know if it was actually the Jim Henson Creature Shop. Yeah. Oh, I kind of failed to mention, I recently posted to my DeviantArt one of the commissions that I got at Comic Conway. I drew a kappa, the little Japanese yokai. It's like a little Japanese gremlin of some, or not a gremlin, a goblin. And let's see, I think that pretty much wraps it up there. Unless I think I'll leave the leaves dull and everything. Yeah, I think. But anyway, like I was saying, oop, missed a couple of spots. But with wrong color, getting all sidetracked now. I drew that kappa as a commission for someone, and I had so much fun with that because it's like I was even just sitting there, like I was talking with some of the other artists that the guy had commissioned, where he just had a sketchbook with him. He was just going around commissioning other artists to draw kappas, and to kind of paraphrase what he was saying, well, since everyone else here is just getting a Superman or a Wonder Woman, so I just thought, hey, why not do this? And I said, that's actually a really good idea, because some of us have yet to draw kappas. I mean, I would love to draw more of this little kappa character, because what I did was I did a very Jim Henson, very Brian Froud style, or I went for that kind of feel, and I just had so much fun doing that. Like, I know some people would say, like, that's not my best work, which, you know, it's debatable, but I just look at it and I'm just like, I still had so much fun drawing that. Just because I even thought, like, in retrospect, it's like the one thing that I kind of quote-unquote messed up on was that the kappas are supposed to have the bowl on top of their head, or it's called the Sara, or the Sara. I wanted to... but then some pictures that I had seen, it's like it showed them with a bald spot, so I just thought, I'll just go with that. Oops. Just wanted to delete or clear the area there on the red, not the green. There we go. That's better. Still too big. But yeah, it's like I kind of messed up on that, and I was just like, well, and then I was just like, I've got it. Since I was going for like the Jim Henson, Brian Froud style, or going for that kind of aesthetic, I was just like, hey, why not just have it to where it's like he can pop his scalp off, or oh, that's right, I need to do the seeds. I'm like, hey, I'm done. It's like, no, I'm not. Didn't even shade the seeds here. Which, fun fact, that's actually the strawberry, if I'm not mistaken. It's like the berry part is actually not the red, juicy part. The more you know. Yeah, but with that sketch, I was just like, I definitely want to do a painting of some kind. Or a series of paintings, even, just showing him just kind of sitting there by the river. I mean, I know that's kind of weird to show kappas looking all cute and friendly when it's like, you know, hey, not going to spoil anyone, but hey, go look them up on Wikipedia. But no, I was definitely just trying to I was definitely kind of going with the idea like, oh, maybe he's just like a little dopey Kappa. That's all I was doing. Like something that you'd see in Labyrinth or something. Because I think what the guy was a little expecting, but then I told him like, it's too obvious. It's like, because I didn't want to necessarily get pigeonholed as far as like, art goes. Just be like, hey, I just want to draw. Like I kind of want to be a little more straightforward with it, because like not everything with me has to be kaiju related, which is actually the whole reason I started the Fruit of the Doom series in the first place. Now that I think about it. Because I'm like, I want to draw something, but I want to avoid it being kaiju related. Like, I'll draw something that looks monstrous, but, is not. And then, like, whenever I drew the Kappa, like the guy liked what I was doing with the kaiju stuff, or with all my kaiju work and everything, but I was just like, yeah, I want to avoid doing that. I'm going to make a smaller brush there. Like I wanted to just avoid doing something kaiju related, so it's like, God, stop doing that. Trying to get the right stroke size on here, and it's just, stop doing that. Man. Oh-de-do-de-do, what was I talking about? But I just wanted to, I just thought like, hey, I'd just be a little straightforward with it, but then I was just like, but then I was looking through the sketchbook that after he had given it to me, and I was just kind of thinking like, well, I mean, what can I do that's different from everyone else? Because it's like there was some people were just really good with it. Well, I should say that for everyone. Everyone who had done a Kappa sketch for him was just like, their artwork was just downright amazing. But I was just like, I wanted to just try something a little different, and that's whenever it dawned on me like, hey, go for a Brian Froud style. Go for something that looks like it appears in a Jim Henson movie. I have done a couple other sketches, just for the hell of it. There was yeah, I had the little thing pop up on my phone. Yeah, I'll get to you in a few. Let's see, there's about 15 minutes left. I'll get to you whenever the stream is officially over. I didn't forget you. But yeah, what was it? It was, God, I keep getting sidetracked. It's not good. Not good. Something to do with that Kappa sketch. That's right. I did other sketches like what would some of the other Kappas look like. I did a little bit more research on them and found out there were some where it's like instead of having like a turtle beak, they had more of a duck bill. And I thought like, okay, I'll draw like a little girl Kappa. Like, I mean, the idea was kind of like, okay, it's supposed like, do something a little bit gender fluid, like, it's neither male nor female. But then I thought like, okay, let's do one that's a little bit more effeminate. And I thought like, okay, it looks cuter with the duck bill. And then I did one that was a bit more, I kind of nicknamed him the Kurgan Kappa, after the villain from Highlander. Mostly because he kind of had this vibe of, or like I was going off that idea where like, the scalp can pop off, because it's like the way to defeat a Kappa in Japanese folklore is to bow to it. They have a very high penchant for formalities. So it's like if you bow to one, they will bow back, and if you bow, if you do a deep enough bow, the water in their sada, the little bowl on their head, will spill out, and then they're powerless, or in some circles they die. I just like to think like, oh, they're super strong despite their small size, but And it's like whenever the water pours out, or whatever special fluid that is. I want to say it's just water. I guess it just depends on the story. I like to think like maybe their strength is gone, so it's like they're not, they're not freaking juggernauts. But this guy, because like their scalps fall off if they do a deep enough bow, the scalp will fall off, and then the water in the sorrow will pour out. But then this guy was so paranoid, like I kind of wanted to do something that looked kind of like the Kurgan in a way from Highlander, and he's basically sewn his scalp shut just to keep all the water in. Just because it's like, he's smart enough. He's found the loophole. Because he doesn't trust humans. I don't know, kind of the way I was drawing his face, he kind of looks like, I think it's Skekvar from the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. He's the general in the new series. I think Skekvar is the name. But he's kind of got that weird buzzard look, or a turtle face. Yeah, I'm getting pretty close to finishing him up. I just probably need to add a little bit more. Whoop, wrong layer. Still on the wrong layer. There. There we go. So one thing I hate, you try to select the right layer, it's like you click on it and it doesn't register. There we go. Magnifique. I think I'm going to add a little bit more highlights. Alrighty. Okay, now I'm just doodling now. I don't even need to. I don't think there's there's much else I can do with him. And yeah, there he is. Go ahead and just look down at my phone. Someone was just trying to call me. Stop calling me. We'll call you back. Yeah, I think I'm done. So, there we go. And it's close enough now. I think I'll just call it quits right now. So, thank you all so much for joining me for the stream. Hope I didn't talk your ears off too much. Hopefully, well, actually, you know what? Here, a little bit premature there. There are two things I actually need to do. So, I'll pull this back up real quick. Sorry if stop calling me. I will call you back whenever I'm done. I don't know if anyone can. I think I've got my phone on silent. I've got my headphone in just to make sure that the stream is still working and everything. So Again, I'm very high-tech about this stuff. And there's just a few spots here. That's what I needed to do. I needed to do... Oh yeah, that's right. I need to clean up some of the shadings and stuff. Yeah, I hate when I do that. I'm like, I'm done, and then it's just like, crap. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. There's always stuff that needs to be done. There. That's done. Now what I'm going to do, and this will actually go for both of them, I'm just going to do a little outline here. And how to do that, I'm going to basically just take the color layer and the line art layer, so we'll just go ahead and hide all that, and then lock the pixels, and then just blip, blip, there we go. And then I'm going to select that, select border, I want to say it was that, and then we're just going to do that, otherwise it won't fill, and then now it should have an outline. Yeah, see, it's got the outline that goes beyond the line art. So it's like, yeah, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is select the strawberry. And I did this with the other ones too. I take this and then, or I take the base color, so it's like for the strawberry it's the red. I'm going to invert it. God, that looks creepy. Blarg. I'm going to take that inverted color, undo that, and now we're just going to apply it to this. Relocking the pixels, and then there. And then that way it's like whenever it's printed on TeePublic, and again, I've done this with the other ones too, where it's like I did that exact same thing. Whenever it's printed, the... like if this was printed on a black shirt, then it's like the line art wouldn't blend into the shirt and then get lost, and then it just looks kind of awkward. And then I'll do the same here with the grapes. Just bring them back up. Invert the color. Hey guys, quit being so negative. Ow. Ow. That's what I get for making a pun. I hurt myself. Whoops. There we go. There we go. Sometimes you just got to really press into it, otherwise it doesn't register. But there we go. There's the outlines and blip, blip, blip. And then one last little trick before we close out is I'm going to show a little trick here with the shade layer. Like I just used black for the shading. So what I'm going to do is, like, I've got the layer set to normal and at 100%. And originally, let me just make sure, okay, it was 35. What I'm going to do is do the brightness and contrast. I don't know if you can see these little windows pop up because of the settings I made in OBS. But I'm going to just raise the contrast a little bit, and now it looks gray. Did I seriously put a... Ah! Okay. Oh shoot, that's on the wrong layer. Well, here's some minor setbacks. Let me pull that line art back up here. I know some people could say, like, normally just, you know, go ahead and, you know, do it with the color that I'm planning on actually turning this into, but at the same time I kind of like, you know, the black is easier to go to, and then it's like, you know, I'm not having to worry about picking the wrong color. It's just like I know I can easily get to it. And since I'm done with the shading, I'm going to lock the pixels. It's not necessary for this little process, but I just do that anyway just to signify that I'm done with it. I'm not going to be making any marks, or any new marks, rather. So we're going to pull up the, if I can get to the right drop-down menu. Oh, it's already done. What am I doing? Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go to color balance. And again, can't really see, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I just checked OBS here. You can't really see it. But it's a little color balance window. And I just went to shadow, and I'm just going to up it by 50%. And now I just turned the layer blue. And then what I'm going to do is multiply. Because the way multiply works is that it goes off of the color underneath it. And then moving it down to 35. Voila. And there you go. Okay, now I believe that's it. I believe, yep, it's 8:30 now, so I'm gonna call it quits here. But there you go. You know what, guys? Thanks for sticking around. Oh, first time during the entire stream I've saved, so thank God some of this stuff has been working for me today. So thanks everyone for sticking around. Thanks for putting up with my rambling. You guys are awesome. Check those links down in the description that I put there. TeePublic is having a big sale right now. I've got a bunch of stuff on Store Envy, so if you want to get a hold of some, a lot of stuff on Store Envy right now is original stuff. So it's like, I don't think there's any print stuff. There might be a couple of things here and there, but for the most part, it's all like original sketches and stuff like that. So if you want to get some last-minute Christmas presents for your friends, or get something for yourself, or you just want to support myself, or you want to support me in any way, shape, or form, there it all is. But no, thanks for sticking around. You guys are awesome. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday yesterday. So, let's see. Okay, I was just checking the comments again. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. I'm gonna probably go grab some food because I'm very, very hungry, and it has no relation to the fruits here. So yeah. So anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm getting out of here. You guys are awesome. Stay awesome, and yeah, keep it real, folks. Bye-bye.